How do you know that's a real trans person? How do you not know that's a f***ing creep?
Ask me some stupid like that, go yourself.
Don't dehumanize me up here. I can post whatever I want.
These are 8 times celebrities destroyed wokeness. Starting with the time when a woke feminist tried to cancel Trump during a conference. She went as far as indirectly calling him a misogynist, and needless to say, it backfired on her.
But I don't think that you're a friend to women.
I knew I shouldn't have picked her. All right, so let me give you that answer right now. I respect women incredibly. I have had women working for me in positions that they've never worked in terms of construction, in terms of so many different jobs. I had a woman who was in charge of the building of Trump Tower many years ago, before anybody would have even thought of it, and did a fantastic job. I have given women more opportunity than I would say virtually anybody in the construction industry. I have a daughter named Ivanka and a wife named Melania who constantly want me to talk about women's health issues because they know how I feel about it, and they know how I feel about women. I respect women. I love women. I cherish women. You know, Hillary Clinton said he shouldn't cherish. Well, I said, I do cherish. I cherish women. My mother was one of the great people of the world, maybe the greatest ever, my mother. I respect women, and I'm going to take care of women. You know, Jeb Bush didn't want to fund women's health issues. You read that, you saw that. And then he took it back later. I will take care of women, and I have great respect for women, and I do cherish women.
Trump's response was a masterclass in turning accusations on their head. He didn't just defend himself, he went on the offensive, listing his history of empowering women in male-dominated fields. But she wasn't over. As a feminist, she had to pull out the wage gap debate.
I want to get paid the same as a man, and I think you understand that. So, if you become president, will a woman make the same as a man? And do I get to choose what I do with my body?
You're going to make the same if you do as good a job. You're going to make the same if you do as good a job, and I happen to be pro-life. Okay, I'm pro-life.
In just a few words, he dismissed the entire concept of a systemic wage gap, boiling it down to individual performance. Next up is the biggest podcaster of all time, Joe Rogan. During an episode with Dr. Brad Weinstein, they talked about how wokeness is taking over universities, and Brad opens up about getting fired when he opposed the wokeness.
There is this event called Day of Absence, which was a long-standing event at the college where basically at first black people and then later on more generally people of color did not come to work, and they held discussions separately. And then in 2017 they changed this to a request that white people not come to campus, and I responded to this and I said that was unacceptable. This was a public college. I wasn't going to be told I couldn't teach my class. And that did cause a bit of a firestorm, but that firestorm was embedded in a much longer battle that had begun to simmer when the new president of the college, George Bridges, showed up and impaneled a committee effectively to suggest mechanisms for restructuring the college. And the mechanisms were insane. They were a recipe for destroying the place, and it was my obligation as a faculty member to point out that it would be a terrible idea for us to adopt these policies.
Joe then asked about what other things were implemented in the woke college.
What were the other policies that he was trying to implement?
Well, let's take, for example, the one that Heather and I were most troubled by was a proposal that every faculty hire needed to be justified on the basis of it in some way addressing inequity. And so you can imagine an environment where you need to hire a mathematician or a chemist, and the answer is, well, you can't really hire anybody whose background doesn't include some strong evidence of their being an activist. And so anyway, that would have been debilitating to the college.
Brad then goes on to show that universities with excessive wokeness is even more racist, a problem they are trying to defeat.
Truly exceptional geniuses, like outliers. Like, what do they do to the other people that don't meet up to those expectations?
Well, that's one of the terrible things about these diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, is that the right way out of the problem is to herald those people and to provide them the opportunities that will allow them to flourish. Instead, they get dragged into a group based on something like skin color, and their exceptional capabilities aren't allowed to shine through. It's basically, it's considered counterproductive or race trading.
But this next moment involves a world-famous tennis player, Rafael Nadal, when he responded to a reporter who asked him about the gender pay gap in tennis.
Quería preguntarte que, a pesar de que aquí no pase y que en los 4 Grand Slam haya equiparación salarial entre mujeres y hombres, en muchos otros torneos esto no ocurre. ¿Qué opinión te merece que las mujeres cobren menos que los hombres en el tenis y que en qué crees que se basa esa desigualdad? Gracias.
Pues no lo sé. No sé en qué se basa en el fútbol, o en el golf, o en el modelaje. No sé. ¿Por qué las mujeres ganan más que los hombres en el tema de la moda? Pues no lo sé. Pero ahí sí que tampoco hablamos todo el día de diferencia salarial.
He brought up a great point about how female models on average make more than a male one, but no one ever talks about that. He then talks about how the media cares more about popular headlines than the actual answer and likes to twist his words.
Entiendo tu pregunta, pero es que llegamos a un momento dado que estamos haciendo todo el rato preguntas capciosas, preguntas que estamos buscando todo el rato la polémica, ¿no? Y os interesa más un titular que pueda vender que lo que yo digo, pues no te voy a contestar más sobre este tema, porque creo que contesto habitualmente de manera coherente y correcta, y a veces se tergiversan las palabras que yo digo, y evidentemente tengo madre, tengo hermana, y son de las personas que más quiero en este mundo. O sea, ¿qué más quiero yo que los hombres y las mujeres seamos exactamente igual y tengamos todos los mismos derechos, ¿no? A quien gane más, quien gane menos, que no por ser hombre o por ser mujer se gane más o se gane menos. Se tiene que ganar más o se tiene que ganar menos por la calidad de tu trabajo o por lo que tú seas capaz de vender o generar.
The next celebrity on the list isn't afraid to express his ideas and opinions on social media, even if it's on very sensitive topics. Elon Musk has many times commented and tweeted on very controversial issues and ideas, and every time his ideas went viral, causing some big drama. Like when Elon Musk was asked by comedian Bill Maher about his opinion on the woke mind virus.
I never thought that. Because I think you're dealing with big civilizational issues and problems, and I was right on your page. I think Twitter is one of them. I mean, you have talked about this woke mind virus.
Yes.
In really apocalyptic terms.
Yeah.
You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus? And if we don't deal with this, nothing else can get done. Tell me why you think that.
Yeah, so I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. So, those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous. Is that it's often anti-meritocratic.
But next up, we have NBA superstar Kyrie Irving, who was questioned by the media for posting about a movie that allegedly had offensive topics in it.
So then do you, I guess, understand or not understand those that might imply that that work had anti-Semitic leanings in it? I only ask this because the tweet is still up there, so I
We're in
presume
2022. It's on Amazon, a public platform. Whether you want to go watch it or not is up to you. There's things being posted every day. I am no different than the next human being, so don't treat me any different.
But less than a minute later, he was asked about the movie again, and this time he was sick of it.
To follow up on the promotion of the movie and the book.
Can you please stop calling it a promotion? What am I promoting?
Put it out on your platform.
But I'm promoting it? Do you see me in front of
By putting it out there, people are going to say that you are promoting.
Yeah, I put it out there just like you put things out there, right?
Yeah, but it's not.
You put things out there for a living, right?
Right, but my stuff is not.
So let's move on.
Filled
let's
with
move on.
Anti-Semitic.
Let's
stuff.
move on. Don't dehumanize me up here.
I'm not doing that.
Another
You're
human
free
being.
to post
I can post whatever I want. So say that and shut it down and move on to the next question.
But Kyrie, you have to understand that by
I don't have to understand anything from you.
It's
Nothing.
not me.
Nothing.
By
It's no
posting
people that
what
you're
you
making
did,
up, bro. Move on.
But by posting
move
what
on.
you
Next
did,
question.
Anybody
Do
is
you
going
guys
to
have
look
any more
at
questions
it,
for
and they're
me?
going to say,
You guys have any more
does he have
questions? Because this is going to be a clip.
beliefs?
This is going to be a clip that he's going to marvel at. Is this any more questions?
But you're not answering the question.
Oh, this is another answering your question. Oh my God, let's make another Instagram clip so we could be famous again.
The next star in the list is Piers Morgan, who in a discussion on gender identity shared his views on gender, which were met with immediate and visible frustration from another individual. The disagreement quickly escalated as the person with the opposing views became increasingly agitated.
It's not difficult, is it, Angelica? I mean, that is what a woman is.
I mean, I don't know why you're obsessed with defining it. Like, what is a man? Like, why do we need these arbitrary...
A man is a male, adult human, and that's it.
Right, okay, I don't know that we need
These are just biological facts, but they're just facts. They're not arguable points, are they?
But I think we have a right to self-identify, and you said
As
you
what?
want to...
As what?
If you'd like to be a woman, you can identify as a woman. I don't know why there is such an issue around
We've
it.
literally just seen a male rapist use that scam to get himself put into a female prison where he could attack vulnerable women inside a female prison, when even his ex-wife said it was all a scam.
Which is a terrible, very distressing, isolated incident, and I think it's easy to take that and say that means that no one can identify as a woman, and
But
that's
it's not an
that's
isolated
not fair.
incident, though.
But it's
42% of trans-identifying prisoners in prison are in there for sex crimes. There's actually an advantage, evidently, to identifying as a female, because they never identify as male, because somehow male prisons seem less appealing to them. It's really weird. Anyway, but
Is it limitless, this self-identity?
It's not totally limitless.
What's the
but
limit?
When you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation around International Women's Day and make it about this.
But if anyone,
there's so many benefits.
right? But if
to having
anyone,
a day.
according to you, can identify as a woman, anyone can, right?
I don't see a problem with
Just literally put the hand up and say I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into
Actually,
the
it's
world.
incredibly
It's very easy.
Incredibly easy.
You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say
What
this
does
is
doing
who,
it involve?
Whatever that person decides, but to
Does
go
it
out
involve
into the
makeup?
world and say I don't identify as perhaps the sex I
So
was
why
born
can't
as.
I
It's not-
identify? Okay, why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was.
I'm serious. I'm serious. If I can identify as anything
Mhm.
without any need to prove I'm actually what that is,
I
why can't I on International Women's Day say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd
No, no.
status,
I think
we're
that's
talking
what.
about quite a
With
strong
respect, I think
physical
that
change.
you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
I mean, this point kind of ridicules trans people to an extent.
Actually, I think what you said ridicules trans people, because actually people who go through the full process of transition, who actually go through what we used to call a sex change, which I don't think you can muck around with original biology, but those who actually go through surgical procedure over a number of years, I've got great respect for that very difficult journey they go on. I have zero respect for people who just wallop their hand up and go suddenly, I'm a woman and I want all the rights that a woman has and I want to compete, say in sport, I'm a 6'4" athlete, sprinter, swimmer, whatever, who's competed very mediocrely in male sport. I now want to come in and crush women in swimming pools and in sprinting events and break all their records, perhaps irrevocably, just by saying, I'm a woman. I think that is the absurdity you were talking about.
Moving on, we have the MMA fighter Strickland, who got into an extremely heated argument with the Canadian reporter because instead of asking questions about the actual sport, the reporter started by asking questions about the LGBTQ community and comments Sean made about it in the past.
We've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said, if I had a gay son, I would think I'd...
Oh, look, another. I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and some would say...
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse
Are
crowd
you?
of-
Let me know. Are you gay?
Can I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking. This is a part of. Are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak man, dude. You're part of the problem. You elected Justin Trudeau. Like, when he sees the bank accounts, like you're just pathetic. And the fact that you have no backbone and has he shut down your country and seized bank accounts, you ask me some stupid shit like that, go yourself.
But even after the brutal beatdown on the mic, the reporter doesn't call it quits and proceeds to question Sean about words he had said about the transgender community in the past. This leads to an even more heated argument.
Question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me.
10 years ago, to be trans was a mental illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your bullshit you're peddling. The world is not saying, you know what, you're right. Chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference.
Sean absolutely destroys the reporter, blaming him for the world's problems, but it doesn't just stop there.
You want to look at the enemy to our world? It's that mother right there, asking these stupid questions.
He then goes further in his opinion on the LGBTQ+ community and attacks the country of Canada for not having free speech due to the heavy amount of censorship against traditional values.
I like the gays. Here's the thing, I've never, you guys think I've ever shit on a gay man or shit on a gay one? I like the gays. It's freedom. We still have it in America. We'll teach you about it. You guys don't have freedom of speech. I'm surprised what I'm saying is probably gonna get I'm probably gonna get the Canadian government to arrest me. So I don't give a who you I don't give a what you want to do in life. But don't tell kids about it. Don't teach that shit in school. Don't push your agenda. Don't try to brainwash people. Don't try to go past parents. Don't try to go past all this shit and brainwash people.
Finally, we have Charlie Kirk, who was interacting with an individual who thought he was Jesus. This person aggressively confronted Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, initially caught off guard, attempted to explain his position calmly. However, the aggressive demeanor of the individual led to shouting and name-calling.
Are you supposed to be Jesus? Is that your whole thing?
I am Jesus. Thank you, everybody.
That's awfully heretical, but okay.
Well, I heard you kept saying my name, so I wanted to show up.
Okay.
I'm busy trying to save the planet from this apocalypse going on. You know what I mean? Jesus H. Christ, but you can just call me Josh. All right, why don't you ask me the questions? I'm sure you have plenty of them.
Okay, what's the Hebrew word for father?
Man, let me tell you something. Abba.
I'm sorry?
Abba.
That's the Greek word for father.
Yeah, Greek, whatever. Point I'm trying to say is this,
yeah,
man.
You don't even make a good Jesus. What language did Jesus speak?
Aramaic.
Okay, tell me one thing
in
Aramaic.
But you have to understand, man, I have to come here to speak to you now. You don't speak Aramaic, otherwise you and me would be speaking Aramaic.
Oh, okay,
I have to speak this kind of dumbed down stuff for you.
The enemy has come to lie, steal, cheat, and destroy. What did Jesus say?
I said love your neighbor.
Wrong.
And how is that working out, by the way?
The enemy has come to lie,
I'm pretty sure
steal...
I said love your neighbor,
Hold on a second. You're not even a good
God,
Jesus. It's one of the most.
And love
it's one
yourself.
of the most popular verses in the Bible. John 10:10. The enemy has come to lie, steal, cheat, and destroy.
Who wrote that thing, anyways?
I have
did
come
not
to
write
give
the
life
Bible.
and life more abundantly. Okay, so you don't even know the scriptures, and you're pretending to be Jesus. But tell me why you're here.
I am Jesus, and I didn't write the scriptures. I lived them. And the
But you
main
can't
thing
even
I want
remember
to
what
tell
you
you is
said?
this: I said love your neighbor and love everybody. That's something that you guys really need to figure out.
Hold on a
And I
second.
know I got some of my fan club
Let's
here.
hold
with
on a
the-
second. Hold on.
First,
What are those two verses?
My name was
Love your
Yeshua. Let's
love your
skip
neighbor
it.
as yourself. Where is that in the Bible?
I don't know. I didn't write it.
Leviticus 19. Hold on.
I didn't write the Bible.
I thought you're Jesus.
I'm Jesus.
You know
it's
the Torah,
about
right?
me, not by me.
Hold on a
Look,
second.
The point is this, my
Hold on.
friend.
Jesus,
I said love
Jesus
your
was
neighbor and love
you're
everybody. I
backpedaling
don't know
so fast because you don't even know the Torah as a pretend
same
Jesus.
thing I was saying
Hold
the
on a
first
second.
time. You see, nobody believed me the first time I was here, and then you crucified me. I was just trying to say this, man. Love everybody. Love your neighbor. Stop killing everybody.
But you don't even know the verse.
Genocides are bad. How about that? You want to put that in the Bible? You can add that
I
as
agree.
well.
So, okay, so you want to talk about...
Stop killing people who are just sitting there. That would be probably a good idea.
Are you trying to connect with Israel Hamas? Is that your thing?
Pretty much the whole world at this point. We got a lot of issues. Kendrick, Drake, and what else is going on around here? Look,
okay, so
I will
wait,
say
hold on.
this: they not like us, and this is pretty obvious. But I will. Look, the point I'm trying to make to you. What was your name again? Charlie? Chadley?
I thought you're Jesus and everything,
Chadwick?
Man.
No, man, I'm too busy. I got an actual job to do.
Oh yeah, so you believe in a God who's too busy,
if I were like you, I'd be able to kind of sit here and pretend that
you're
you're
the worst Jesus I've ever seen.
I'm the only Jesus, and I will say this: I am the only one. Matter of fact, and I live in all of you, and thank you for making time for me. By the way, it's been a while. Look, I would say this: if you really are a fan of mine and you're in my fan club, just be a nicer person, man.
Well, where does it say to be nice in the Bible?
It's pretty much all over
No,
there.
hold on.
That was kind of
what
the
does the
point.
word nice mean in Latin?
The point I was trying to
It means
make
ignoramus. Where
is
does it
to
say?
love.
Wait, in the
Love.
Can you tell me the 10
Amor.
Commandments?
How about
Let's go
amor?
through the 10 Commandments. Want to do it together? Since you're Jesus, let's go. What are they?
Don't be an asshole. Number
Oh,
one.
okay, hold on.
How about number 1 through 10? Don't be an asshole.
Wait,
That'd
hold
be
on.
a
No,
great
actually,
one.
that's not one of the 10
pretty much
Commandments.
summed it up.
I am the
In fact,
Lord that you
if I'm
delivered
not
you from
mistaken,
Egypt. You
what I
shall have no
said,
other
if you
gods
look
before me. You
correctly,
shall have
I
no other
said
graven
in the
images.
Bible, I said,
You
you
shall
know
never
what?
take the
You
Lord's
guys
name in
cannot
vain. You
really
shall
handle
honor
the
your
10
mother and father,
Commandments,
so
so
may
I'm
live
gonna
long
sum
in the
it
land
down
in
in
which you
one.
are in.
Just love
You shall
yourself.
honor the Sabbath
You know,
day
I
and
don't know
keep it
exactly-
holy.
wait,
You shall not murder. You shall not steal. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. You shall not covet your neighbor's house.
We got a sinner go
You
over
shall.
here. 1 and a 2 and a 3.
Oh, wait,
We got a
you don't
sinner
like
soul.
the Decalogue
We got
'cause
a
you don't
sinner.
know the
Give it up
Decalogue.
for the
Okay.
sinner, everybody. Give it up for the sinner,
All right.
everybody. Good job.